Hey, nerdy sports fan here. We're talking week 17 NFL action because who wants to talk to their relatives on the holidays? So, we have the Bears going to see the Vikings. I am so disappointed with the Bears in general, and I'm pretty disappointed with last week's performance from the Vikings. They're definitely limping into the playoffs, and it's because of Dalvin Cook, kind of. So the Vikings should have still relied on the running game going against the Packers. They didn't. They had points in that game against the Packers that they still should have and could have been pounding the rock. And they went away from it way too early. I don't care that Mike Boone is not Dalvin Cook. I don't. Because Kirk Cousins is still Kirk Cousins. And he needs play action pass to be viable in order to be effective. He's worked in the same system. Every time he's been effective, it's been some variation of Shanahan's West Coast run first offense. And when you get away from that, and you try to have him just be a field marshal that's passing all over the place all the time, he does terribly. He will find ways to lose games when he has to operate in that sort of situation. So the Vikings need to stick to who they are, regardless of who's actually playing. They didn't last week, and they got the crap kicked out of them in their own home stadium because of it. Now, obviously, the Bears aren't the Packers, okay? The Bears have a comparable defense to what the Packers have, but they don't have anywhere near the offense. And really, the defense for the Packers is a bit overrated. The Bears' defense is a bit overrated this year. They're still relying a lot on the reputation from last year's defense. Vic Fangio's not there. Chuck Pagano is. There's been enough schematic changes that make it so the staff doesn't operate the same way, and it's not been beneficial for them. They're still very good. They're just not dominating. They're not dictating to the offense in the way that they did last season. So, yeah, there's a lot of disappointment to be had on both sides here. Both teams had real chances to come away with this division, and the Bears are out of the playoffs, and the Vikings are looking like they're going to be a one and done in the playoffs. So, in this one, the Vikings desperately need to get some momentum going into the playoffs. They need a win. They want to keep their seeding or improve it as best they can. So a win would still be beneficial. So they're going to still be playing to win. They're relying on Cousins, though. And with the Dalvin Cook injury, him likely being sidelined still, are they going to do the same crap that they did last week? And if they are, they're going to be in trouble. They can't rely on just Cousins' arm against a solid defensive secondary. With a decent pass rush, they can't. Okay? They need play action to be a viable thing in order for Cousins to be a viable quarterback. So, a lot hinges on whether or not they game plan to actually consistently run the ball regardless of injured players. If they do, if they learn from the mistake of last week, they will win this game handily. Because Thielen's back, and every week he's out there, he's going to be a little bit better than he was the previous week. So I don't expect him to have the same kind of 3 or 4 targets and no receptions kind of situation that they had going on last week. He'll be more viable. Diggs got a little dinged up last week, so he's probably going to be a little less viable. The Vikings are 1-point favorites in this game. because of a lot of the things we're talking about here with the disappointments of last week. I would bet the Bears. I think the Bears are going to win. I think the Bears are going to play for pride, go hard, take advantage of the injuries that the Vikings have on offense that are really going to hamstring them going into the playoffs. And, you know, the Bears are, I don't know, they're 1 week coming into their own and looking like the offense that they should have developed into by now already. And the next week, they're crap. Well, they had their crap week last week. So, you know, they're in for a good one, right? Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, and not many other people that you can depend on in that offense. But David Montgomery and them should have good games. Fantasy football-wise, the only person you can depend on the Bears is Robinson. That guy's a stud. Miller, you know, was a target monster. And then all of a sudden fell off entirely last week. So it's a crapshoot with Miller. Montgomery's always a crapshoot because his coach forgets to hand him the ball for very long spans of time. And, God, Trubisky is just so all over the map still. The Bears likely are going to need a different quarterback in the future because I don't see Trubisky developing much better than he has. He might prove me wrong, and I hope he does because the Bears fans deserve something good to root for. But Trubisky doesn't seem to be the answer at this point in his career. And neither is Cousins. I mean, neither side really has the quarterback that's the guy. So, yeah. Lots of disappointment on both sides. And, yeah, it's going to be a decent game for these fan bases to watch. But the rest of us have bigger fish to fry and better games to watch through the week. That's what I have for this one, guys. Hit up the rest of the videos for more fantasy football advice if you even need it at this point. Happy holidays to you.